Okay, so you want to take a deep dive into the Emily Carter case?
Yeah,
And trust me, this one is a real head scratcher. It's
absolutely.
got all the ingredients of like a true crime thriller.
It really does.
We're talking a young college student
Mm-hmm.
vanishes on a stormy night
Yeah.
back in 2017.
2017, Westfield University.
Right, Westfield University up in Washington State.
Yep.
And despite, I mean, you name it, a nationwide search, media frenzy, everything.
You'd think they'd find something.
You'd think so, right? But nothing, no trace.
Oh.
So we're going to try to piece together what we can with what we got.
Okay, so.
We've got police reports, witness testimonies, even some like strange clues that popped up later.
Right, yeah, some very odd things.
But hopefully, by the time we get to the end of this,
Yeah.
maybe we can, I don't know, at least get a little closer to like what might have happened
Well, that's the hope.
to this Emily Carter.
Yeah, I think what's so striking about this case, and there are so many, but what's really striking is how normal it all seems up until it just isn't.
Right.
Emily Carter, she's just this, like, bright journalism student, doing her thing, well-liked,
Yeah, classic college student. Right?
Seems like, yeah.
Enjoying life.
And then,
poof, gone.
yeah.
It's like one of those, stories you hear whispered late at night around a campfire.
It really is.
But okay, so before we get to that night, like before she vanished, what do we know about Emily? Like anything unusual, or was it just kind of like typical college life?
Well, I mean, like most college kids, she had the usual stressors, a heavy course load,
Yeah.
recent breakup. But,
Right.
I mean, those are pretty common, every college student goes through that.
Yeah.
And her friends, her family, they were all adamant that she was happy and that she wouldn't just, like, disappear.
Okay, so no, like obvious warning signs then? Like nothing that would make you think.
Yeah.
Okay, so take us to that night,
Oh, okay.
September 14th. Set the scene for us.
All right, so picture this. Rainy, blustery Washington night.
Oh, yeah.
Emily's at a friend's gathering off campus.
Okay.
Around 11:30, she decides to head back to her dorm. It's a route she's taken tons of times,
Sure. Yeah.
but not like this.
Right, because
Because it's pouring rain, you can barely see.
so she's alone walking in this like downpour. Did anyone see her on that walk back?
There were a couple people who, like, remembered seeing someone, maybe her around midnight near the edge of campus, but it was so dark and that rain,
Right, you can't be sure.
it's hard to say for sure.
But that was the last like confirmed time anyone saw her.
Last anyone saw her.
And then what, she just doesn't show up to class the next day?
Yeah, and that's when things get weird.
Because, I mean, college students, they miss class. That's not unusual, right?
It happens.
But I guess her friends knew something was off.
They
Because it wasn't like her.
Not at all.
So they reported her missing that afternoon.
That afternoon.
And then the search for Emily begins.
Yeah.
So what happened next? Like, what were the initial things they did?
Well, initially it's like all hands on deck. You've got police, volunteers, search and rescue. Everyone's out looking for her.
Yeah, you figure with that much manpower, they got to find something.
Right. You'd think so.
But we already know they didn't. So, like, what gives?
Well, think about it. You mentioned the storm.
Right.
I mean, that rain, it basically washed away any potential footprints, any evidence.
Oh, yeah.
It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack after someone set the haystack on fire.
Oh, so they really had nothing to go on.
Not much.
What about her phone? Did that give them any clues?
Well, it pinged one last time near this wooded area on the edge of town, and then nothing. Silent.
So naturally they focused on that area.
Of course.
But still, nothing.
Like she just vanished.
It's like she just stepped off the face of the earth.
Pretty much.
So, I mean, given the weather and where her phone last pinged, did they think maybe she got lost or hurt in the storm?
Initially, yeah, that was the main theory.
Makes sense.
Seemed plausible.
Yeah.
But as time went on and with that much searching.
Right, and still nothing.
Nothing.
That's when things start to get even more bizarre.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what happened? Like, what was the next big thing in the case?
3 days after she disappears, they find her backpack.
Okay.
And get this, it wasn't just like tossed in a ditch somewhere or hidden.
Yeah.
It was placed neatly on a bench.
What?
Outside the local library.
The library? Hold on. They already searched that, right?
We did.
So someone put it there. Okay, so what was in it? Did it tell them anything about where she might be?
They found her wallet,
Okay.
her keys,
Mm-hmm.
a notebook, normal stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but no phone. Yeah. Why leave the backpack but take the phone?
Right. Like, was she trying to send a message? Or was someone else trying to throw everyone off?
That's a good question.
Okay, but the library, they must have security cameras.
You'd think.
Did they catch whoever left the backpack?
Nope.
What do you mean?
Talk about bad luck.
Mm-hmm.
Their security system malfunctioned that night.
Are you kidding me?
Corrupted footage.
So another dead end.
Another one.
It's like every time they get a little bit closer to figuring this out, something else gets in the way.
It's true.
It's heartbreaking.
It is.
All right, so no clear leads from the backpack.
Right.
Did they, like, start looking into, Emily's life, trying to figure out who might have wanted her gone?
Yeah, they had to start somewhere, so they started digging into her relationships,
All right.
the circumstances, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they came up with 3 main theories.
Okay, well, let's hear them.
Each one, though, had its own set of issues and unanswered questions.
All right, well, let's try to untangle this web, shall we?
Let's give it a shot.
What was the first theory they looked at?
Like in a lot of missing persons cases, they focused on the people closest to her first.
Mm-hmm.
The possibility that she was taken by someone she knew.
Okay, so friends, family, classmates, anyone who had a connection to her, basically.
Exactly.
Did anyone, like, stand out as suspicious early on?
The police, they talked to everyone in her circle.
Mm-hmm.
But there was nothing solid, no clear motives. No one seemed to have any reason to hurt her.
So no obvious bad guys, but that doesn't mean it wasn't someone she knew, right?
Not necessarily.
It's like you're trying to solve a puzzle,
Yeah.
but half the pieces are missing.
Mm-hmm.
So you can kind of see, like, a vague outline of what the picture might be,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't be sure.
Right.
Okay, so if that theory hit a wall, what was next?
They considered the possibility that maybe, just maybe, she ran away.
Ran away, like
Yeah.
just decided to leave everything behind.
Yeah.
But you said earlier, like, her family didn't think she was the type to do that.
They were adamant.
And wouldn't she have taken her phone if she was running away,
Yeah.
to stay in contact, or if there was an emergency?
That's a good point.
So that one doesn't really add up.
It's a bit of a stretch.
Okay, so what was the third theory?
This one is, it's a little unsettling.
Hmm.
The possibility that she was the victim of a serial predator.
Okay, now this is where things take a dark turn.
Yeah.
What made them think of that? Was there something specific about Emily's case that pointed them in that direction?
It wasn't so much about Emily specifically.
Hmm.
It was more about what was happening around Westfield at the time.
What do you mean?
Well, in the years before she disappeared,
Hmm.
there were quite a few reports of women being followed
Hmm.
or harassed.
Your campus.
Yeah, near the campus.
So there was like a pattern of creepy stuff happening,
Yeah.
but nothing as serious as someone going missing.
Right, nothing that serious.
But it's hard not to connect the dots, right?
Yeah, you start thinking, what if it's all connected?
What if this time it went further?
Exactly.
Chilling.
Yeah.
So, okay, we've got 3 theories. Someone she knew ran away, or a serial predator.
Mm-hmm.
Did any of these lead to an actual suspect?
Despite all the investigating, all the angles they explored,
Hmm?
they never could pinpoint a solid lead.
No one?
No suspects, no arrests, and eventually the case went cold.
That's got to be incredibly frustrating.
It is.
You have all these possibilities, but no real answers.
Right.
I can't imagine what Emily's family must have been going through.
No, the not knowing.
Yeah.
That's often the hardest part.
But then, even though the official investigation stalled, some strange clues popped up months later,
Oh, yeah.
which just adds another layer to this whole thing.
It really does.
So what were these clues?
Well, the first one was an email,
An email.
anonymous email sent to Emily's mom, Lisa Carter,
Okay.
about 6 months after Emily disappeared.
And what did it say?
It was short.
Mhm.
Just said, "She's alive. Stop looking."
Whoa,
Creepy, right?
that's chilling.
It's like a glimmer of hope,
Yeah,
but also like shrouded in mystery.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Were they able to trace the email?
They were.
Yeah,
It came from a public computer at a library,
of course.
but no fingerprints,
Ah,
no DNA, nothing to tell them who sent it or why.
another dead end.
It was.
What about the second clue? What was that?
This one came from a truck driver.
A truck driver?
Passing through town.
Okay.
He reported seeing a young woman who looked a lot like Emily
Hmm.
at a gas station
Okay.
miles from Westfield
Hmm.
about 2 weeks after she vanished.
So maybe Emily, but miles away.
Yeah. And according to him, she seemed like disoriented,
Mm.
And she was with some guy.
With a man.
Someone no one recognized.
Did they check it out?
Oh, yeah. They rushed to that gas station.
Yeah,
But by the time they got there,
Mhm.
both the woman and the man were gone.
Ugh, seriously.
And you guessed it,
No cameras.
no cameras.
So they couldn't even
Yeah.
confirm it was actually her. Man, it seems like this case is full of these near misses.
It's like one step forward, two steps back.
Right.
Yeah.
It's got to be agonizing for her family, like all this hope just to have it ripped away.
It's a roller coaster for sure.
So even though the police weren't getting anywhere,
Right.
Emily's family, they didn't give up.
They didn't.
Right. They kept her story alive.
Absolutely.
They kept searching.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that.
Well, her family, especially her mom, Lisa,
Lisa Carter.
they showed incredible strength through all of this. They organized vigils, handed out flyers, did everything they could to keep the media talking about Emily.
It's amazing the things people will do when they love someone, you know?
It really is.
Like even when the official investigation stalls,
yeah.
they don't give up.
They become their own advocates,
Exactly.
driven by the thought that Emily, she deserves justice.
What kinds of things did they do specifically?
Well, for starters, they made a whole website.
A website.
Dedicated to Emily's case.
Okay.
With updates, photos, pleas for information. And they were all over social media.
Of course.
Spreading awareness.
Yeah.
Connecting with anyone who might know something.
It's a good reminder that sometimes it's the families that are the real driving force in these cases.
It's true.
You know, they don't let the world forget.
Nope.
They keep pushing, keep hoping, keep fighting for answers.
And in Emily's case, that determination led to a pretty big development a few years later.
Oh, what happened?
In 2020, 3 years after Emily disappeared, they raised enough money to hire a private investigator.
Wow, so they were serious. Did the investigator find anything new?
Well, they had some new information to work with, leads that had come up over the years.
Right.
And they actually made some progress.
Like what?
They found a few possible sightings of Emily
Oh.
in some nearby towns, but none of them could be confirmed for sure.
Yeah.
They also went back and looked at some of the old leads, talked to witnesses again, explored things the police might have missed the first time around.
So new avenues, new potential leads, but still no concrete answers.
Right.
Man, this case is a maze.
It is.
Full of twists and turns.
And dead ends.
Yeah, dead ends.
It really shows you how complex these cases can be, even with dedicated people and resources.
Absolutely.
And that's the part that gets me.
What's that?
The not knowing.
Yeah.
We've got pieces of the story, parts of the puzzle,
Right.
but we just can't see the whole picture.
It's like we're missing the instruction manual.
Exactly.
We know the pieces are there,
Yeah.
but we don't know how to put them together.
What if the way we're looking at the clues is wrong?
What do you mean?
What if the key to understanding Emily's disappearance isn't the clues themselves, but how we're interpreting them?
That's an interesting thought.
Isn't it?
We've covered a lot of
Well, at least.
Emily's life before. The night she disappeared, all the dead-end theories,
Yeah.
the strange clues, her family's determination.
Incredible, right?
This story, it really makes you think.
It makes you question everything.
Like, what if we're missing something obvious?
Maybe the answer is staring us right in the face.
And we just can't see it yet.
Exactly.
That's a pretty unsettling thought.
It is.
All right, well, we've explored a lot,
We have.
but there's still more to unpack here.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Lots more to unpack.
You mentioned that the private investigator, they went back and looked at some of the initial stuff. Was there anything specific they wanted to, like, re-examine?
They were really interested in Emily's digital footprint.
Her digital footprint.
Yeah, like her computer, social media, all her online activity.
Right, because, I mean, she was a journalism student, so
Yeah.
she was probably online all the time.
All the time.
So did they find anything, like, suspicious in her online stuff?
Well, nothing that, screamed foul play.
But they did notice some interesting things in her online behavior.
Oh, like what?
In the weeks before she disappeared, she started visiting all these websites about hiking trails.
Hiking trails.
Yeah, and survival skills.
Huh. That's kind of random.
It was definitely unusual for her.
Did they think maybe she was planning a trip or something?
They looked into that, checked if she bought any hiking gear or camping stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So just a coincidence then?
Maybe.
Or maybe not.
Right, it's hard to say.
Did they ask her friends and family if she ever talked about hiking?
They did, and no one remembered her mentioning anything like that.
So another dead end.
Pretty much.
It's like we're trying to follow a trail that just keeps
Oh.
disappearing.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's talk about that anonymous email for a minute.
The she's alive email.
Yeah, that one. It's
Mhm.
so creepy.
Yes.
Like, why send that?
Right. What was the point?
Did the investigator have any theories about who might have sent it? They thought maybe it was someone who knew something, but they were too scared to come forward directly?
Okay, so they sent an anonymous email to be safe.
Could be.
But then why not be more specific?
Yeah, why not give some kind of proof?
Right. It's so vague.
It's almost impossible to interpret.
It's like, is it a real clue or is it a cruel joke?
Or maybe a distraction.
Yeah, like a red herring.
Mhm.
Oh, this case is frustrating.
It really is.
Okay, what about the truck driver's statement?
Mm-hmm.
Did the investigator look into that more?
Yeah, they were really curious about that man Emily was supposedly seen with.
Right. They tried to find the truck driver,
Mhm.
see if they could get more details.
Did they find him?
Nope, couldn't track him down.
Seriously?
Seems like he gave fake contact info.
Or just vanished.
Could be.
So, another dead end.
Another one?
Did the investigator think the police messed up the original investigation?
They did have some questions about the initial search.
Oh. Like what? They felt like some areas, especially near where her phone last pinged,
Mm.
could have been searched more thoroughly.
So they thought maybe the police missed something.
It's possible.
Man, it's crazy how someone else can come in years later
Mm-hmm.
and maybe see things that were missed the first time around.
It happens.
So even with the private investigator, still no answers.
Nope. The mystery remains.
It just goes to show you that even with all the resources in the world,
Yeah.
sometimes these cases just go unsolved.
It's true.
It's unsettling.
It is. You want there to be a reason.
Yeah.
You want to understand.
But sometimes you just can't.
Sometimes the answers just aren't there.
It makes you realize that, the world can be a pretty unpredictable place.
Mm-hmm.
And even with all our technology and information,
Mm-hmm.
some things just stay hidden.
Some mysteries are never solved.
This is definitely one of those cases that sticks with you.
It is.
You keep thinking about it,
Mm.
wondering what could have happened to Emily.
It's the question that haunts everyone involved.
Yeah, and even though we might never know for sure,
Right.
I think it's important to remember
Mm.
that sometimes the search for the truth,
Yeah.
it's not always about finding a clear answer.
Sometimes it's about the journey itself.
The journey.
Yeah, the act of seeking answers.
That's a good point.
Even if we never find out exactly what happened to Emily,
Mm-hmm.
the fact that people keep looking,
Yeah,
that they haven't given up hope,
right.
that says a lot.
It does.
It speaks to the human need to understand,
Mhm.
to find meaning, even in the face of tragedy.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
it's a reminder that even when things seem hopeless,
Yeah,
there's always a chance
always a chance.
that the truth
Mhm.
might come to light.
It's a powerful thing.
It really is.
Yeah.
To think that even after all this time,
Mm-hmm.
they still haven't given up.
It's inspiring.
So we've looked at a lot in this case.
We have
What do you think is like the biggest thing?
the biggest thing.
Yeah, the thing that makes Emily's case different from other missing persons cases.
That's a tough one. There are so many things. But I think for me, it's how normal everything seems.
Mm-hmm.
And then, bam, she's gone, and no one knows why.
Right, like it's not like she was involved in anything shady
No.
or had a dangerous lifestyle.
Nope, she's just a regular college student.
Walking home on a stormy night
Mm-hmm.
and then nothing.
It's like she just, I don't know, disappeared into thin air.
Exactly. And then you have those weird clues.
Right? The email, the truck driver.
They're like little glimmers of hope,
Yeah.
but they don't lead anywhere.
Just more questions.
Always more questions.
It's like I keep saying it, but it really is like a puzzle with missing pieces.
And no picture on the box.
Right. Like, how are you supposed to solve it if you don't even know what you're looking for?
Maybe we're not supposed to solve it.
What do you mean?
Maybe some mysteries are just meant to stay mysteries.
That's a pretty bleak thought.
Yeah, it's a possibility, though.
It is. It makes you think about, how much we really understand about the world. How much is still unknown.
We like to think we have it all figured out.
We like to think so.
But then a case like Emily's comes along.
And it throws everything into question.
Like, exactly.
It reminds us that there are things out there,
Mhm.
things we might never fully grasp.
It's definitely humbling.
It is.
So going back to what you said earlier about, so maybe we're looking at the clues the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
What did you mean by that?
Well, sometimes when we're so focused on finding an answer,
Hmm.
we miss other possibilities.
Huh?
Like, maybe there's a connection we haven't made, a
Hmm.
piece of information that seems unimportant on its own.
Right.
But when you put it together with something else,
Yeah.
it changes everything.
So we need to, like, broaden our perspective.
Exactly.
Think outside the box
Challenge our assumptions
about what happened to Emily.
about everything.
It's like those magic eye pictures, where you have to kind of unfocus your eyes to see the hidden image.
And suddenly it all makes sense.
Exactly.
Maybe that's what we need to do with this case.
Look at it in a whole new way. That's a good takeaway, I think, not just for this case,
Yeah,
but for life in general.
absolutely.
Sometimes the answers are right there in front of us, but we're just not looking at them the right way.
We're too focused on what we think we know.
Yeah.
We need to be open to new possibilities.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today
We have.
in our deep dive into Emily Carter's disappearance.
A lot of ground.
We've looked at the facts,
Mm-hmm.
the theories,
Mm-hmm.
all the dead ends,
Mm-hmm.
and all the questions that still remain.
It's a case that sticks with you.
It really is.
It makes you realize that some mysteries might never be solved.
Yeah,
But that doesn't mean we should stop searching for the truth.
that's a good point.
The search itself.
Mm-hmm.
It can be just as important as finding the answer.
Well said. It's been a pleasure exploring this case with you.
The pleasure was all mine.
And to everyone listening, thank you for joining us on this deep dive
Yeah, thanks for listening.
into the disappearance of Emily Carter.
Hopefully one day we'll know what happened to her.
Hopefully.
Well, this question's coming.
And who knows, maybe one of you out there
Mm-hmm.
holds the key to solving this mystery.
Yeah.